I've been putting off making this video for a while, not because I don't believe in what I'm saying. I 100% do with my whole heart, but I know it's going to trigger a certain type of person. But I'm going to say it anyway. In 2026, high ticket sales is pay to win, and you really cannot break in for free if you want to reach 5, 10, 15, 20k months in a reasonable time frame. 95+% of everyone I know in the space got to 10, 15, 20, 30k months through referrals, not through dogged interviews, cold outreach, looms, all the time. They got there through referrals, and that is not a coincidence, because in this game, unfortunately, your network is your net worth. Don't even want to say unfortunately, that's just the way it is. So you need to accept that fact if you want to see success in high ticket sales. Now, something that is just as important, if not more important, is your skill set. You have to be good in order to have a worthy network. That goes without saying, but your network is extremely important. For me, I invested over $5,500 into my first mentorship at 18 years old when I only had around 2.5k to my name. I had to borrow $3,000 from my parents and basically sprung it upon them. But I knew and I saw the value of having a mentor, so I did it, and they backed me, luckily enough. That singular investment has returned 100+x in terms of what I've been able to make in take-home commissions. Obviously, I've continued to reinvest back into myself, but if I hadn't have taken that first step, I would never have gotten the opportunity 8 months later that made me $20,000 a month consistently, all the way up to $30,000 a month. So in this video, I'm going to break down exactly what I mean when I say that high ticket sales is pay to win, what paying to win actually means, what that looks like, what that buys you, and why you cannot do the free path and take that step if you actually want to see success in 2026 in this game. So let's dive in. Here is what pay to win actually means in this game. I want to be very, very clear when I say this. Just because you invest in a mentorship does not entitle you to see success and you're going to get a 10k a month offer land on your lap. If you think that's the case, click off this video now, go back to the 9 to 5 because this is not for you. But what I am saying is every single offer that I've seen take someone from 0 to consistent 10, 20, 30k plus months has come through a referral. Not oftentimes like a job board, a cold loom to a stranger, majority of the time a referral. People get headhunted, closers get headhunted and poached due to their skill set and also their network. Having someone who has a name in the space put their name behind you and say, I back this person, genuinely can move mountains. Because reality is the info space, the high ticket space is a very, very small world. Everyone knows everyone. Offer owners talk to each other, sales managers talk to each other. If you mess up and you ruin your reputation, that's gone. You're not getting it back. Other sales managers and coaches know which coaches are setting the correct standard. So when you actually invest in a mentor, you borrow their name. That is how this works. You can borrow their conviction. Don't fuck that up. And the flip side of this is also extremely true. If you invest into the wrong mentor, someone with a bad reputation who is known for just marketing sales instead of being a sales professional and someone who's actually competent, the sales manager community, the offer owner manager, whatever it is, they don't respect that name. You take on that name. So if you could even be really good, but you've invested in so-and-so's program, automatically it's like, I don't know. There's red flags. I've had bad experiences with reps from there before, which is why it's extremely important that you do your due diligence on who you're investing into. Are they just a marketer or are they a salesperson? What background do they have? Where are the receipts? That is why I say it's pay to win. It's not because the course content or the information magically makes you better. It's like going to the gym, right? Just because you buy a gym membership doesn't entitle you to get jacked. However, if you have the best equipment and you have the best work ethic, the likelihood of you looking your best is going to be a hell of a lot higher. Section 2. Now, a lot of people get this wrong, but this is what you're actually buying when you invest into coaching. Most people think about investing into coaching as just buying information. And yes, frameworks, curriculum, call reviews, all of that's great stuff. It all matters. I'm not saying it doesn't. But the information is not the thing that moves the needle. There is more information on how to lose weight than ever before, yet majority of Americans are overweight. Same with people in the UK or wherever you're from. There's never been so many fat people in the world. So it's not a lack of information because everyone has information on how to lose weight. When you get around people who are doing the thing that you want to do and you see it in real time and you realize that they're not that much smarter than you, they've just been doing the work for a longer period of time, that gives you so much conviction that you're on the right path. The amount of people that say this when they join STS or a new standards, that seeing other people win motivates them, it allows them to see what's possible, and then eventually they become that person and the cycle repeats itself again and again, is insane. There's so many people who have shared that same story. Because you can consume every single YouTube video, every single piece of information, every free course in the world like you may already be doing, but there's still that voice in the back of your head that says, is this real for you? Am I a special snowflake that cannot see success? And the truth is, you're never going to get rid of that voice until you get around people who are doing the thing in real time and you see that they are not special. They're made of flesh and blood just like you. Because when you invest, you're buying the room itself. The relationships that I've built inside of mentorships are worth more than the investment that I paid, 100,000 million times more. They're my first mentors who I invested into 3 years ago. I am still good friends with. I speak to them on a consistent basis. I have friends for life from that mentorship, friends in America, friends all over the world who, if I went to shit tomorrow, everything went wrong, I for some reason lost all my abilities in sales, not my abilities, but my role, management, coaching, whatever it is, I know for a fact I could get on an offer tomorrow that allowed me to make 15, 20K a month. No doubt. In that first mentorship that I joined, I met a friend when I went out to a meetup in Arizona, and a week later, I was on an offer that allowed me to make 20K a month consistently. So you can't sit there and tell me that connections do not matter. Last thing, which I don't hear anyone speak about, is you are buying the name. I've had conversations with 8-figure sales managers who have told me directly, when someone applies for STS, they automatically give them a shot. Not because they're doing me or Kurt a favor, but because they know what the standard is, right? They know what our students have been through, what they've been taught, what they've been coached. Having the name S on the loom before you apply will literally pre-qualify you for landing. As long as you don't sound like a complete idiot and you carry yourself well, the likelihood of you landing that interview is a lot higher. Think of it like landing a job, right? If you're in a 9 to 5 and someone went to Harvard and they saw that on your resume, think of it like a job. If you were applying for a job, 2 people applying for the same job, one went to Oxford or Cambridge or Harvard, someone else went to a local community college, who are they going to look at? The guy who went to Harvard. Why? Because the name of the university carries so much weight. And that is not something you can buy. Look at all these brands. They're name brands, household brands. If you say, yeah, I own an Aston Martin, it's like, fuck, this guy's got money, right? This guy is attached to something with status. The free path is real. You can figure this out for yourself, by yourself. If you want to spend 12 to 18 months of ridiculous uncertainty, pain, trial and error, grinding through dead rolls, making maybe 2-3K a month, you can do that. But I'm telling you now, as someone who's done the thing for 3 years plus, investing in a mentorship will get you where you want to go a hell of a lot quicker. And also not just the speed, but the actual, I don't want to say guarantee because nothing guaranteed, but if you follow the path that your mentor's laid out because you've invested in the right one, that you cannot fail as long as you don't quit. That's literally all it comes down to. So you know, if I just stay in the game long enough, I'm going to win. But I don't want you thinking that investing in a mentorship removes the hard work. Again, it's like buying a membership to the gym. You just bought access to put in the work. You just have better resources to know that you're doing the right stuff. That level of certainty and conviction that I know I'm doing the right thing, you cannot put a price tag on that, I promise you. So I want to walk you through what the free path actually looks like. And I want to be fair because I'm not going to stand here and sit you down and tell you that the free path is impossible because people have figured it out without coaching programs. That's 100% someone's done that. But I want to be honest with you about what that actually looks like because it's so romanticized. Oh, I just did it myself. I made it myself. I'm self-made. But I do want to be honest about what it actually looks like because the way that it's presented about doing it yourself is so romanticized. Just grind, watch free content, figure it out yourself. But it strips away the actual costs, opportunity costs, different things that we're going to go into now. So this is what the free path looks like. 1, you watch the YouTube videos. You watch the course, free course on my YouTube, right? You read the Reddit threads. You understand the space well enough to start applying. You send a bunch of cold looms, which means you get ignored because you don't have a name behind you and you don't really know how to structure a loom. Your loom looks like everyone else. Your setup's not as good as it could be. Tons of things going wrong from the get-go that could easily be avoided with the right coaching. Maybe you eventually land an offer, hopefully, right? Probably not the best one because, again, the best offers typically come through word of mouth. Maybe you're making 2-3K a month grinding. Maybe this is after 4 to 6 months, who knows? And then you land an offer after maybe 4 to 6 months of this if you haven't quit already due to the uncertainty and it being so lonely. And you're making maybe okay money. You're at 2, 3, 4K a month. Your framework still has gaps. You don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you're doing wrong. You're a novice. You're a beginner. And then all of a sudden, either the offer dies or your income plateaus. You get fired and you don't know why. Rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. That is how that cycle goes. That is what is called a hamster wheel. Trial and error, bad offers, calls being not reviewed or reviewed by a sales manager who you don't really know if they're actually any good, and just months and months of uncertainty that I don't know what I don't know. And you think that, oh, but I'm saving myself money but you're not, because you're costing yourself time. We have two resources in this life. We have time versus money. This is a reframe that you can use on your prospects. One you can never get back. One is being printed billions of times a day. They're literally printing billions of dollars every single day, every single week, every single year. The most successful people realize that they need to invest their money so they can buy back their time. Yet you're sat there thinking, no, I'm the guy who's going to get there just as quick without investing the money. Slap you around the face, brother, because that is not the case. I'm so sorry. And look, I'm telling you this because I kind of did this, right? I tried Twitter threads, I tried copywriting. I genuinely thought £50 a month or $50 a month when I was traveling for Hustlers University, AT, the Bull Kickboxers program. I thought it was expensive, right? And I did it for 3 months, took no action, and obviously didn't see success. And then the moment I invested into my first mentorship for $5,500, and then the moment I invested $5,500 of money that I didn't fully have into my first mentorship, my life completely changed. And it was not overnight. It took me 8 months to get to 20K a month. Could I have got there quicker with what I know now? For sure. But that's just how my story went. And it wasn't some like magic switch. Again, it took me 8 months, but it's because I had access to and I had the right name behind me when I was applying for offers. Section number 4, why in 2026 this is more important than ever before. Because everything I've said so far has always been true to some extent, but there are some specific things that are happening right now in the market in 2026 that makes pay to win more of a reality than ever before. And the reason is that trust has collapsed at the top of the funnel. If you look at because the coaching industry has been going through a very few tough years, rough and tough. Look, you know this, the coaching industry, make money online, courses, mentorships, trust is at an all-time low. Too many gurus, empty promises, too many people who made 5K once and started coaching people on how they did it. Audiences have been burned by dropshipping courses, SMMA programs, sales coaching that overpromises and says you're going to be sipping Mai Tais in Bali by a beach, making 5K a month, working 2 hours a day as a setter. Load of BS. The coaches who are genuinely winning right now, whose students are getting placed and seeing success on a consistent basis, are the ones with the most proof. Name students, specific income figures, verifiable results, generic promises and vague credentials just don't cut it anymore. You cannot have a striped screenshot of money that you claim you made last year. It doesn't work anymore. Not to mention AI completely splitting the market. This is something that I genuinely believe not enough people are talking about. AI is already better than 80% of sales reps at transactional, lower value one-call closes. Companies will pay and are going to start ramping up on this for £20 a month, $20 a month for a DM setting AI bot, instead of paying 5% commissions to a setter who's doing the same work. However, AI cannot and will not, for an extended period of time, maybe there's one day where Armageddon comes in and I'm out of a job, maybe, who knows. But they cannot replace the complexity and the multi-layered psychology of a nuanced sales conversation. And how do you get that? By being a genuinely skilled closer. The market right now is splitting. There is skilled closers on one side, and they're getting better and better and better, and then there is everyone else. The skilled closers are the guys who have been trained, coached, reviewed, they've got better and better and better, and those are the guys coming out of serious programs. The people who tried figuring out alone with free content and no real framework are competing with AI, which is not a game that you want to play. I don't want to play it at all. Also, the best offers are becoming more and more selective. As the market grows more and more crowded, more and more offers are being launched every single week. Serious offer owners and sales managers are getting more and more discerning. They're not just taking anyone who sends a direct loom and giving you a shot. They're looking at who trained you. They're asking which program you came for. They want to know if they can put their trust into the person who they will be spending leads, who they will be putting money behind to bring leads onto their calendar. Honestly, when I first started, even 3 years ago, that filter, not saying it didn't exist, but it was a lot lower. You could kind of get in no matter what, as long as you'd invested in some form of coaching. It's not really the case anymore. So if you're not coming into the application with the right associates, the right network, the right group behind you, you are going to be facing a structural disadvantage that a better technique cannot overcome. So I want to be fair in this video, and I want to show you the counter argument, but also why it doesn't hold up, because I can already hear the pushback on this and I want to address it directly because I think it's worth taking seriously, but just before dismissing it. The argument is this: isn't this so convenient for a coaching program owner to say? Of course, Frankie thinks you should pay for a program because he sells one. Isn't this just a sales pitch in a fancy dress? Isn't this just a sales pitch tied up in a nice way just pitched as honesty. Isn't that the case? And I completely get why you would say this. Like, it's completely fair. My answer is, look at this, right? Look at the evidence, not the messenger. Every single offer that made me serious money came through referral. I invested before I ever coached. I invested $80,000 before I ever took on coaching. And I did that for a reason, because I didn't feel like I was at a level where I could coach. For me personally, I have morals. Maybe you can see that, maybe you can't. Either way, it doesn't matter. I didn't feel like I was in a position to coach. If you look back on my TikToks from 2 years ago when I was not coaching, like, was not helping people, the thing that I was telling people to do when wanting to get into high ticket sales was invest in a mentor. I've been saying it for years. But even still, the connections that you build cannot or will take a hell of a lot longer to be built if you don't have a mentorship. It's just the case. Again, it's just something I've experienced. It matches everything I've seen from the people I manage, the students I coach, the friend that got me onto an offer that allowed me to make 300K. I met him through a coaching community, a connection that led me to landing a huge AI offer that got me to 20, 30K a month again. If I didn't have those connections, I would not have got those roles. Like, I can say that for sure. And if you think that you can replicate that network through free content and cold outreach, go for it. Try it. Maybe you'll be one of the guys who makes it work. But if you look at the odds and look at the opportunity costs in time, wrong offers, months of grinding it out without a feedback loop, is that worth it? You got to ask yourself. And the other part of the counter argument is like, what if you can't afford it? And I hear it, right? If you don't have 3, 4, 5, 10K to invest in a mentorship, you might be sat there like, but I have to go down the free route. Now, there's two types of people in those scenarios. There's the person who sits there and says, well, I don't have the money, so I can't invest. And then there's the kind of person who says, I don't have the resources. How can I get resourceful so I can get the coaching? Because I know I'll be able to make it back in the long run. Again, I had to get resourceful, borrowed money from my parents. Not everyone's in a position to do that. I appreciate that. However, if you're above the age of 18, beg, borrow, steal. Don't steal. That is not legal advice. To get the money. Like, if you want it bad enough, you'll get resourceful and you'll be able to make it happen. And if you're genuinely not in a position to invest right now, get a job. Stack up $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. If you're in a first world country and you're above the age of 18 and you seriously want it, it should take you no longer than 1 to 2 months to do that. Like, that's how it is. But don't convince yourself that the free path and the paid path are equivalent, because the evidence doesn't support that. So that is that. You've seen the argument. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments, but you can see why I say high ticket sales is pay to win in 2026. Look at everyone you admire in the coaching space, someone who's crushing it in high ticket sales. I guarantee you they've invested a copious amount of money into themselves to improve their skill set. Now, this is the part where I pitch the shit out of you. And I tell you that if you want to get into high ticket sales, you want to learn and you want to be attached to a name of high standards, then check out the link for a new standard in the description. Now, if you want to go for someone else and join someone else's coaching program and you truly believe that they can get you to where you want to be, go do that. I don't mind. I want to see as many people as possible win, because there are too many victims, people who live out there in the UK and the US especially, who have so much potential and so much capabilities, but they're not doing anything with it. I do not give a shit if you pay me or pay someone else. Just do something, please. You lazy tart. Sorry. But again, I've had 8-figure sales managers tell me that when someone invests into STS and has that brand and name behind them, they give them a shot. Now, again, if you see that and you hear that and you think, I want to get to where I want to be easier and quicker, then great. But you still need to put in the work. Like, this is not something where I'm going to let anyone and everyone in, because if you have the wrong expectations coming into it, you will ruin the S name, and I cannot have that. If you're someone who backs themselves, knows they want to get into high ticket sales, check out the link in the description. If not, shoot me a DM on Instagram. We can talk. Keep enjoying the videos. Like, comment, subscribe, share, repost, retweet, whatever you got to do. I'll see you in the next one.